But Rubiton's in front. Oh, gee, is a good horse, like Harry said. 1.5 lengths to Vogue into the straight, 4 lengths to Allspade Drought Cossack Warrior, but Rubiton wins in a canter. Goes to the line to score by 2 lengths to Vogue. 5 lengths away third, Allspade, an honest galloper from...
As they often say, horse people are mad, but you can see why.
Written by Eights-White to give him his 5th victory in the Feehan. 20 years ago he won on Volition, then he scored on
Rubiton, the 4th musketeer. The other 3? Barnes the trainer, Bayliss the owner, and White the jockey. Together, the quartet took on the world and won. David Bayliss, the owner, made the first move.
I went through the catalogue, and the Abcos catalogue, and picked 5 that I liked on breeding with the updating in mind. 3 twig moss and 2 century yearlings. Then I gave Pat Barnes the lot numbers of those 5 and said, well, you know, you grade them on appearance. He dismissed 3. We were left with a century and a twig moss. The century, he simply marked Derby colt, love him. Well, bidding went very quickly through to 40,000, which was our limit. But then with a pause in the bidding, we put in 45 and just kept our fingers crossed.
I recall he had a trial, and he won a trial very impressively. And we just brought him along quietly with, you know, training and a couple of gallops, and he showed always that he had ability. And he went into a race against Military Plume first up, and we really did think that he'd win, but it poured overnight, and he didn't. The owner was going to have a big bet on him, but the rain put him off because we didn't know how he'd handle that sort of ground. And it was a bog track. I think they run 6 furlongs in 121. And he won. He beat Military Plume by a couple of lengths.
Rubiton contested a number of races before he became associated with the 4th musketeer, Harry White. And without detracting in any way from his previous rider David Tootle or his early career, it's safe to say that when the quartet was finally assembled, it provided a daunting and dazzling display.
David was having strife, you know, managing him on the track. He was pulling very hard. And the circumstances surrounding the change of rider, well, we paraded, walking him at the track one morning, and the owner overheard Harry White say to Darcy Christie, "Isn't that a magnificent horse?" as he walked past. And the owner was fairly impressed by Harry's comment. And I think at that stage he thought, well, H. White thinks so much of his appearance. You know, he was quite happy to contact him, see if he'd be interested.
I was admiring him with, as you say, with Darcy Christie about his ability and the look of the horse, and David Bayliss must have been there and heard that I was a bit wrapped on the horse, and then the horse had to run at Sandown, ran 3rd in the race, pulled very hard, and it was after that that they decided then that they changed, David Bayliss would change the rider, and just out of the blue he just gave me a phone call, and I asked if I would like to ride the horse, and in the Oakley Plate, and I jumped at it, the chance to.
Going hard. Oh, he's a real machine, this fellow. Placid Ark's going to canter in. Wins by 3 lengths. Special second, Rubiton 3rd.
And Harry said then after that race, the way the race is run doesn't suit him. He'd be better suited over more ground. And he said he thought a race like the Futurity Stakes was ideal, because at the time we'd only intended to run him from the Oakley Plate into the Newmarket. But after what Harry said, we changed our mind and run him in the Futurity.
with about 200 to go. Rubiton's doing well. A half length in front and kicking away from Campaign King. King Phoenix the danger. Then Playful Princess. Rubiton clear. King Phoenix trying to peg him back, but Rubiton's holding him safely. And Rubiton wins well. A length and a half. King Phoenix. Playful Princess third.
He led in the futurity, but still won. I was able to sort of, you know, communicate with the horse. Even though I was in front on him, I did have that affinity with the horse that I was able to communicate with him and relax him. And this was proven later. We're in longer races where they all said he'd pull. I used to have him out the back of the race and he'd just go to sleep for me.
There they are, mates together. The beginning of a long friendship and understanding.
After he won that race, he'd really won Harry, and he was then prepared to get down to 50 to ride him in the Newmarket, which he did. And he always maintains that had he come down the outside that day, he'd have given Place of Arc a big shake.
He continued his 3-year-old autumn campaign in Sydney with a second at Rose Hill in the Farlap Stakes, during which he was severely galloped on. This forced him to return to Adelaide for a lengthy spell.
It didn't appear too serious at the time, and the wound healed, but there must have been, you know, deep-seated injury, deep-seated problem, because it became infected and blew up. Harry came up one morning, rode him work, and he just said the horse is not riding himself. He said, take him home, he's too good to take risks with. So we did that immediately.
He returned to Melbourne to begin his spring campaign of 1987 and surprised everyone with this paralysing burst of speed.
And Rubiton with a dash. Then Society Bay, Lockley's Tradition. Everready's dropping out of it. On the corner, Rubiton went to the lead out wide from Special. Wider, Dazzling Duke. Broadreach is struggling. Everready's going backwards on the corner. Into the straight now, and Rubiton shot about 3 lengths in front of Dazzling Duke, followed by Special, Broadreach, then Princely Heart wide. But this is walked in Rubiton. It's 4 or 5 in front. It's going to win by 5 lengths. Dazzling Duke second, Caledonian Boy running on with Princely Heart, battle for third.
So, the die was cast for the horse who was to dominate weight for age racing during that memorable spring.
And our whole mission was to get the horse to relax, which we never ever really did on the track. He was always too uptight here. And I knew the Memsey Stakes was the turning point, really. There was no speed on, there was about 7 runners. Society Bay led in the field and went very slow. Took them 1:28 to run the 1400 metres that day. Society Bay then ran the last 3 furlongs of that race, sprinted in 34 seconds. He had to be a champion to beat her, and he did.
And the sprint's on in the straight, 350 out, and he's got a break on the leader, Society Bay. 2 or 3 in front of Rubiton. And Broadreach, and they're clear then of Cossack Warrior. Society Bay the leader. Now Rubiton is knuckling down to the task. Society Bay in front with 100 to go. Rubiton got on terms, took the lead, and he's too good, Rubiton. He's coming away from Society Bay.
Now a performance that was probably his most devastating. In the Underwood Stakes, he was really special.
Rubiton about to come 4 wide around them. He's off on it now. And Tidal Light's trying to get through in the centre. On the corner, Dazzling Duke, Field Dancer. Rubiton's gone so quickly that it's run past Military Plume and has joined the leaders. Military Plume got cut off and Rubiton swept to the lead at the top of the straight. He's raced 2 lengths in front. In second placing now, Field Dancer. Military Plume struck. Then Fair Sir, Tidal Light, but Rubiton's a mile in front. He's 4 in front with 200. Fair Sir's gone into second placing, but Rubiton canters in by 3 lengths to Fair Sir.
He was now the undisputed star of the 1987 spring, and the pressure was really on. The Caulfield Stakes was next, but sometimes something just has to give.
Well, he got away with me on the Friday morning here, and he was clocked around 6 and 18 on the sand track here. He was the strongest horse I ever had anything to do with. He had so much power. He was a horse that... a lot of horses, you could get hold of them, rein them up and get a short hold of them on the track here, and you will beat them. They'll give in. But he had such a will that he never ever gave in. You couldn't beat him with force.
When he came off the track, I was just turned around and walked away. I was so disgusted to see him going the way he was going. When he came off the track, I think Harry could sense that I wasn't happy. And the strapper went out to lead him in. And when he brought him back to me, I said, Harry, you didn't need that. And Harry said, won't hurt him, Pat, won't hurt him. I said, he's not a bloody engine. He said, yes, he is. He said, he is an engine, this horse, he said.
Rubiton's not responding too well. Drought's run to him, in fact. Fair Sir in front of Drought the outside. Rubiton's gone. Drought coming at Fair Sir near the line, and Drought's got up.
So now they had a problem. How to bring a horse back to win the championship of Australasian racing, the Cox Plate, in just 2 weeks. Long-time friend George Hanlon provided the solution. Rubiton needed a break from the hurly-burly of city training tracks. 2 weeks in the country might just help rejuvenate the champion.
To be quite frank, on Cox Plate Day, I had a feeling of calmness because I felt that I'd done all I could for him down at the property at Leopold. And, you know, it's a big race coming up. You've done all you can do. That was that.
Never seen a Cox Plate like this, spread out at the 800. Bow Road 6 lengths clear from Tidal Light. 8 lengths Marwong. Poetic Prince off the fence has gone up 4th. Bozam a length and a half away from Fair Sir. Carpstad. Rubiton's travelling well. Then Midnight Fever, High Regard, Campaign King and Drought. With 600 to go, Vogue 4 lengths to Marwong. Tidal Light, I think's gone. Then Poetic Prince, Bozam. Here's Midnight Fever letting go the filly. Rubiton trying to get out, and then follows Carpstad, and Drought's broken down. 400 out, and the leader still Vogue, a length to Marwong. Our Poetic Prince is travelling beautifully the outside, and Rubiton's getting out. Our Poetic Prince has claimed the leaders on the turn. Rubiton and Fair Sir out after it. It's Our Poetic Prince in front. Rubiton stumbled, bumped into Fair Sir. Our Poetic Prince a length in front. Rubiton gets balanced, races up on the outside. Rubiton's hit the front, and Rubiton's won the Cox Plate. About a neck to Our Poetic Prince, a length to Fair Sir.
Despite the weight of public opinion against his decision, Pat Barnes elected to line Rubiton up in the Weight for Age McKinnon Stakes on Derby Day.
And the leader is King of Brooklyn, 2 lengths to Rubiton, a length and a half Military Plume and Drought to the outside from Belciano. King of Brooklyn clear. Harry's hard at work on Rubiton. He's not responding too well. Military Plume and Drought sticking with him. It's King of Brooklyn in front. Rubiton's getting to him now. Then came Military Plume and Drought. Rubiton's got to King of Brooklyn. He's taken the lead with 100 to go. He's in front. Military Plume's grabbing him. King of Brooklyn's coming again. It's a race. Rubiton and nose in front and one.
Little did we know that we would be robbed of the opportunity to see Rubiton's greatness develop further in the autumn of '88. He returned to Adelaide after the McKinnon, and midway through his next preparation, tragedy struck.
Went to feed him at lunchtime one day, and he had a tendon, a bowed tendon. And to this day, I consider that it must have happened through the horse getting cast, because he was a horse you kept close watch on all the time, and I had never ever noticed any indication of tendon trouble until that particular time when I went to feed him.
Well, I'll never forget him, and I'm building a new home up at the farm, and it's going to have a nameplate over called Rubiton, so I'll never forget him.
He moved me to write a poem about him one time, and it goes like this. When he walked into the stable, striding bold with equine grace, one couldn't help but feel he'd put a smile upon your face. For he was something special. He proved as he progressed what a champion he really was, to meet and beat the best. At sprint or any distance, he'd take them in his stride. With Harry sitting quietly, he'd fill your heart with pride. His racing days are over. Sadness grips my heart. There'll never be another, and our time has come to part. My memories will linger of the day when he arrived, and the many thrills he gave me as game-heartedly he strived. He'll stamp his stock with will to win, I quote, convinced of that, for Rubiton was, after all, a true aristocrat.